Hello, this is Reverend Ken Wilcox at the Center for Spiritual Living here in St. Augustine, Florida. I wanted to finish up a series of stories that I have begun over the holidays. It's about a dear person that came into my life. She was my mother's sister-in-law. My mother married into their family when I was a freshman in college. She, at the end of her life, wrote me a Christmas card with a really lovely note in it. And I keep that card to this very day. I get it out every Christmas. Today's story is about her son, who was about my age, maybe just a couple of months younger. He was gay like me. I met him my freshman year in college when I was actually transferring back to Mercer University in Macon, and he was attending there. And for a couple of years, we were best buds. We were actually kind of party pals with one another. We would go up to the big bars in Atlanta and have lots of fun. Soon, Macon was too slow for me and I moved to Atlanta. And then Atlanta didn't have enough adventure. And so I moved off to Washington, D.C. to pursue my adventure. Duffy stayed in Macon. Now, in the 90s, he contracted AIDS. And it was a very tough time to have AIDS in Macon, Georgia. It was still considered a very terrible and shameful thing. The last year of his life, he sustained a head injury and he really wasn't in his right mind. His mother brought him in, and along with her dear friend, her maid Annie, they nursed him for the last year. During this year, when he got to the point where he realized he was going to transition, he began to make funeral arrangements for himself. He wanted to have his funeral at the Catholic church in Macon, St. Joseph's, which is really one of the most beautiful Catholic churches I've ever seen. If you're ever going through Macon, be sure to go and tour it. But there was just one problem. He nor the family weren't Catholic. And so he couldn't have the service there. But Doris, wanting to fulfill all of his wishes that she could, contacted a priest who was the head priest at the church, and he agreed to hold the services for Duffy at the funeral home. When Duffy did transition, my mom volunteered me to be a pallbearer, so I was a part of the service. And on my way down to Macon, I began to think about what kind of service Duffy was likely to get. I didn't have, at that time, much interactions with Catholic priests. I'm fortunate now as part of the interfaith group here in St. Augustine to have gotten to know and become friends with several, and they're really delightful people. But at that time, probably one of the most prominent Catholic voices was really kind of an angry nun on television. I think her name was Sister Angelina, and she was quite angry and very, very bitter and very rigid. So on the way down to Macon, I began to worry, what kind of service was Duffy likely to get? And I was really more concerned about Doris because I really did not want her feelings hurt. When we got there, the priest got up, and I wish I could remember his name, but he delivered one of the kindest and compassionate services you could ever imagine. It almost had a Buddhist quality to it. He told us that Duffy was like a new infant born, that his eyes had not focused yet, and he was waking up to the magnificence and glory of God. And that in this place between two worlds, we should do prayers for Duffy, sending him love and assurance. And that we should also ask Duffy to do prayers for us because he was in this unique place. It really was a service of compassion and kindness. And a lot of his ideas I even use today when I'm asked to do a funeral service. You know, my teacher, Kennedy Schultz, said our biggest question, the biggest thing we have to decide for ourselves is, do we live in a loving universe? Is the mode of the universe default setting for our best interest? And I believe it is. And when we make this decision, it frees us up from having to try to be in control of everything. We can turn a lot of our life over to God and know it's going to be handled in a loving and compassionate way. This is Reverend Ken in a chilly St. Augustine, Florida on a January day, wishing you many blessings. And until we meet again,